is an example. Now, they're random, like these people could have the same speciality or different specialities. Why do we put the top 6? Because you could display the whole talents or the whole employees that we have or people looking for jobs in the database. And that's the reason why we have this. I'll come back to it. That's where we have the search. But to make it a little bit smart and trendy, we're only putting the top 6. And that's the reason why we have the top 6, because either these people are competent in the fact that they have good profiles, or the people who have come to seek their profiles are happy with what they've seen. Maybe they've hired them, maybe they're doing some part-time jobs, et cetera, et cetera. So this is the plan for employers. They would click on any state and they will open up the top 6 trending. However, they could also do a general search where they would click on see all potential hires. There will be like a button there, and they will be able to like go into the database table. And that's why we have a database. We did that last class, right? We connected to, we're gonna have a backend. So they will search by city, Lagos, and it will just bring out all the people in Lagos, all the talent, and they could just go if they want one specific thing, software engineer, for example. So that's gonna be here, and they will see all software engineers. If they want someone specifically, they will see. Now, what about the people looking for jobs? The people looking for jobs is gonna be very simple. So let's get back to the view. For the preview, actually the VNC, they will be able to, if they click, for example, they come and they want to register as a potential person looking for a job. The first thing they need to do, just like the employees, is they need to sign up. Now, do you notice that when I click the sign up, I don't know if you've seen that, but I might play it again or rerun this again. I have this pop-up thing come up on my screen. So the pop-up stuff gives me the option if I'm looking to hire, if I'm seeking a job. If I click looking for a job, then I need to sign up first. When I sign up, I put all the details, my name, my city, just the very brief things that we can use to create like a CV on this app. And that's really what they can do. And so when someone contacts them, clicks connect, the employers, they see their profile, they're happy, click connect. In their database, they will have something like a potential contact, like a field there. And they could get back in touch with the person if they prefer, or they could wait till search something else. So we're just going to create in that simplicity way, but they could obviously do more things, and that's where you need to put your own intuition. So this is not our program. This is just a sample. Today, what we're going to do is make things pop up. We're going to work on the sign up. We're going to work on also, I want to show you on the console here, we're going to be working on generating this type of a thing. We need to work on generating random employee IDs or employer ID. That's going to be stored in the database. For every employee, person who's looking for a job, anytime they want to sign up on your app, they must have a unique ID, which is what we call a primary key. That's what's going to be stored in the database. That's what makes everybody unique. So that's why we're going to do this. Okay, so first let's get started off with our own app. I'm going to go to Replit. The first thing I'll do on Replit is obviously go to my app that we started working on last time. So the Naija Pro Pulse, I just need to search it. So again, for those of you who haven't started working on this yet, I hope you have, because you just need to go to Replit and you need to create like what do you call it? Like a file, which I explained. So we'll talk about that a little bit later on. So far, this is what we have for our own app, okay? This picture, I have changed it. Okay, like I have adjusted it. And what I did was I took out this part, because here, if you're wondering why we have a space, that's going to be for a chart. That means a bar chart or a line graph. That's going to show the cities that are the most trending with talent. So we're going to use something called the Simpsons Index. Okay, Simpsons Index would be basically, I don't know if I'm sure you guys have done biology or someone's been into biology. It's a way to determine the level of biodiversity in an environment, but we can actually use it with our own app, because what we'll do is anytime a person goes to Lagos, and in Lagos, there's so many different type of specialities, software engineering, et cetera, then whenever they click any specialty, it will count +1, +1, +1. So we will have clicks for each specialty. I'm going to show you more in a structured way in a few minutes. And so those clicks for each specialty, what we'll do is we'll add them all up together, divide it by the total number of clicks that we have in Lagos, and then we're going to percentage that, and that will give us a percentage value, and that's what we'll do for like all the cities. And the one that's closest to 1 at the end of the day would be the one that's the most talented or biodiverse in terms of talent. And that's what will show in the graph. So that's like the stats. So they would be able to see it in the beginning. And then here, what I did was, let me zoom out. I just basically took out this part, and I did this on Canva. I took out this section. This is picture cards. This is where we will have the top 3 famous profiles for employees displayed here. Now, going back to the code, I want to start the code, but before I start that, this is the picture that I have now, right? This is the one you see. And I think I put the new picture here. If I didn't, I have it over here. So I'm going to go open it up. There's the refined picture that I've done. Let me find it on my folder so that you see the difference. Okay, so this is the refined picture. This is the one that I have now. So this is the picture I'm going to use. I did this on Canva, took out the space. I added this sign up and login using Gemini. We did that last time, but I'll show you real quick. But what I'll do just before I show it and start coding is I'll drag and drop this picture over here. And you notice that I have this new picture now, right? This is the new one. What I'll do is delete the old picture. This is the old one. Get rid of that. So if you don't know how to start this on Replit, please watch lesson 1. If you don't know, it's very basic. Even if you don't know how to code, you've never coded before, I think it wouldn't be hard at all. It's very straightforward. So here, this one is the new photo. Okay, and now back to the code. Go back to your code, which is the main Java file. And in the code, I'm actually going to take this out because we don't have this yet. We're going to do that today. But we did start putting this in, I think. I might also take that out because I'm not sure. So let's say this was our basic code. We just started doing this. Okay, so the picture that we have so far, we haven't even inserted it. So we've just, what you just saw right now was the code that I had because I've done it before, I did this part. So I'll take this whole thing out and just go from here, actually. And then let's start coding all the way to change this one. No more .jpeg. This is now .png. You have to make sure that the name of your picture here is matching the picture that you have here. That's the one you want to show. So that's the one that's going to show. So remember that when you were looking at it, this is the one that was showing the previous one. If we run it again, so now it should show us the new one, this one. So the old one's gone because we replaced the picture. Okay, now what do we need to do? Well, first, we need to make sure that we have picture cards. And we also need to make sure the screen is clickable, right? So we're going to make the clicking thing happen. For us to do that, give me one moment, and then we're going to start generating the employee ID. That's the next thing we'll do. Okay, so for us to do that, we'll do a couple of comments here. We'll insert picture card 1. So picture card 1, if you're wondering what that is that at the bottom, the space that I have, I want to have 3 picture cards that will be changed because it will be manipulated. It will show always who are the top trending talent generally, not just by state, but generally. Who are the ones that get to be contacted more? Maybe for freelance job. Let's say it's part-time, maybe not something full-time because they wouldn't be there anymore. But like every time, who's the one that gets to be the most called up? So that's what we'll show. And it will always change because it will always have to search the database and see which one has the most requests. So that's why I'm putting here that we're going to put that insert picture card number 2. And then we're going to insert picture card number 3. Let's do it for each state. And then insert picture card number 4. So this one will be for Lagos. This one will be for Abuja. This one will be for Port Harcourt. And then this one will be for Kano, right? And that will change depending on who's trending the most. Who are people clicking on the most? Sending more hugs, sending more Naija feels and all that stuff. Okay, so that's what's going to happen. And then afterwards, now we're going to start putting in our click function. So the click function will have to start off by putting the keyword static, because this is how it works in Java Swing. Static means that it can be used all around the code and it's accessible everywhere. You can use it in any screen. You don't have to keep recreating it all the time. So the click function is going to be called the mouse adapter. Okay, and you can give your click function whatever name. So the name of this method, it's actually called a method. Let's call it screen clicks. However name, whatever name you want to give it, you can give it, but just be careful here because if you give a space like this, you get an error because you can't have spacing when you're creating methods. Okay, by the way, this is a method. For those who weren't here or who've never seen this before, this is a method. We call it methods. Just imagine like sections, things that are happening in sections. The first section is show the home screen. The second section, make the screen clickable so that they can click about us, they can click learn, they can click sign up, they can click pretty much anything. So here you can't give your method spacing. You've got to put like an underscore or make it a single word, however you want. Another thing you notice is that I have a red line, which means whenever you see a red line, it means there's an error. So this one is something that I need to import. It is a library called a mouse adapter. So you just come here to the top and you import your mouse adapter. And it usually is found in what we call the event library or the event package. And what the event package means is that it's just a place where you can get these type of events. What does an event mean? When you click, something will happen. Either you click on the background like what we have, or you click on a button and something happens. So it's called an event. And this is called the abstract window toolkit. Okay, so I've got an error here. What's the error? Well, I'm missing a return statement. Why? Because this method, by the way, this is not a void method. I don't have something like this, static void. You see, if I did this, I don't have any errors. Why? Because this method does not return anything. What does return mean? Means when something is done, something happens. Just like in physics, you have equal reaction for every action, right? So same thing here. You have to have a reaction. So the reaction is once they click, something has to happen. So what's going to happen right now is I need to do a return statement, and I need to return something at the end. So for now, let's say we return clicks. Let's call it clicks, and you'll see why. Let's call it clicks, okay? For now, you're going to have a red line here. That's fine. We're going to fix that. So inside here, what we have to do is we have to create an object of the mouse adapter class. Okay, so what does that mean? Well, what makes Java different as a programming language is that Java is a sort of a class and object type of programming language. That means that it has classes and it has objects, just like you have parents and children. So it's the same thing. It's all about classes and all about objects. And for you to use any one of these classes, because this is a class, even though it is in what we call a method, like I told you, a function, but if you want to use it, you have to create an object of it so you can use it. So how you do it is you basically put the name of your class, which is mouse adapter, then you put the name of your object, then you put an equal sign, then you put new, then you put the name of your class again, and then you put circular brackets. Now you've got to open curly brace. Okay, so my curly brace is right here. And so the curly brace, you'll have to put a semicolon. Okay, there's a way of how you have to set this up. You just have to be careful when you're typing code and just do it step by step. So remember, I created an object, I opened circular brackets, then I put a curly brace, then I put a semicolon at the end. And you notice that I'm having semicolons on all these lines. That's just how it works in Java. Now, how are we going to make the screen clickable? Well, I have to create another method called mouse clicked. So I'll say public void. You can call it whatever you want, but this is just by default, mouse clicked. Then I would say I have a mouse event. So what is the mouse event? Because you're taking your cursor and you're moving your cursor on the screen. So it's an event and you're using your mouse to do that. So that's why it's called mouse event. This was like, imagine when Java was created at the beginning, that was like very early. We still have all that mouse and stuff. So they use those terminologies. Now this mouse event has an object. You can call that anything. I could call it E1, I could call it W, I could call it me, Mary, anything. Really, it just doesn't matter what you call this. You just have to call it something. It's the object. Remember I told you that Java is all about classes and object? Well, that's the object. Now, when you've done that, you will come here inside. You'll have to create an X and Y coordinate. So you know, like from math, you have X and Y coordinates in a graph. Your X coordinate is basically where you go left to right or right to left, however, but it's on two sides horizontally. And your Y coordinates is where you go up and down. So because you want to make your screen clickable, you have to tell the compiler, which runs this whole program, exactly where you want it to be clickable and exactly what you want to happen if that specific area is clicked. So in our case, we want it such that when they click on sign up, login, because that's what we're starting with, then it will pop up an image. It will pop an image, and the image will say, do you want to hire someone or do you want to look for a job? And then they could select from there. So we've done the first int. What does int mean? Int means integer, just like in maths, and integer because the coordinates are numbers. You can have something like 23, x is 23, x is minus 120, whatever. X can be anything, can be positive, can be negative. It goes all the way from positive x to negative x. Where's my positive, by the way? Let me see, give me a moment. There it is. So from positive to negative, that's how it goes. And then the same thing happens for y, it goes from positive to negative. Now that's it, that's all. Very simple. All you have to do now is just put a system.out.print, and you'll see how this actually works very, very well. Then you will print your x and your y coordinates. What is system.out.print? It means what will go on the console. Console is for you, the programmer, when you're creating code and you want to see the instantaneous result. And if the result has nothing to do with clicking or interacting, then it usually goes on the console. And that's where you will see like whatever you've printed. So in Java, if you want to print something like hello, whatever it is, you have to print it with system.out.println. So what do we want to print? We want to print int x, integer, whole numbers. Integer is a data type, whole number. X, you can call it anything you want. You notice that I used e1.getX. What does e1 mean? The object, because it's tracing with their mouse. As they move the cursor on the screen, it traces around and it gets their X position. Where are they on the screen in terms of X? And then where are they on the screen in terms of Y? That's why it says get X, get Y. So now you want to print your X like that. You have to use this plus sign, but we call it concatenation. And so concatenation means something that indicates you're trying to join a string with a variable, or you're trying to join a string with a number. I'll explain what that means in a few minutes. But for now, just understand that I'm printing my X coordinate whenever they click anywhere on the screen, and I'm putting a comma between it, and I'm printing my Y coordinate. So let's say they click anywhere. So maybe they click at 34, 150. This is their exact position on the screen, just like coordinates when you're looking at like location on Google Maps or something. Sort of like that. So now we're going to try it so that you can see it in real time. That's all you have to do. Really, that's the entire thing to set up your screen to be clickable. And the thing is, the funny thing is that you only need just this method for the whole entire app. Anytime you want to make any screen clickable, you're just going to come here and you're just going to use this. So how do you use it? Well, first, you've got to, now that you've set it up, this is your whole click function. You're done with that. You have printed out this X and Y. You can now start determining where you want to be clickable. You need to come back down here to your display home function, because that is where you created the screen, where you put the home screen. And remember, you use this image icon. So I'm not going to go over this because I did that in lesson 1. However, I will touch a little base on it. So down here, if you want to add clicks, you want to make it clickable. Now, you have to come to the end. And at the end here, you have this plain panel1.addLabel1. So what does that mean? Well, the panel, just imagine you have a picture frame, right? And your picture frame, you have the frame itself. I think I gave this example last class. But in the frame, you have that support where you put the picture on, and then that goes inside of the frame. So the support, the frame itself, let's start with the frame, is this, your J-frame. Just imagine it's that in the picture. Then the support is your panel, whatever support. Like when you buy a picture frame, there's always a support there. You can't put a picture on a frame if you don't have a support. So it's the panel. Then the actual picture is your image icon. So that goes, so how does that go? The picture has to go on the support, and then the support has to go within the frame. That's exactly what's happening here. Okay, you see that the panel is adding the label, which the label is containing the image itself. That means the picture. And then you have the screen adding the panel, right? And then finally, you're going to now make your screen clickable. And then, of course, you have setting the size, which I'll talk about. You don't want it to have a specific size. But just imagine that this is adding your picture, and then your support is going to be added to your frame. Now I'm going to do one more thing, and this is where I'm going to add the clicking thing. So I'll do screen1.add mouse. I think I heard someone asking a question, or raising a hand. Is it you, Fatolo? Go ahead.
So yeah, actually, I've dropped it on my chat box.
Sure,
So,
of course.
now, you can see it on the chat box.
Yeah, good question. So asking what is the role of the J-frame? Good question. Well, the J-frame is the original support. If you don't have a J-frame, you can't really start putting anything on the screen, especially when you're using Java Swing. What we're using right now, and I'm going to put it as a comment, is a library called Java Swing, guys, and it's used to insert graphics. This is one of the libraries that we have in Java to insert graphics. We have another one called Java FX. But if we don't have this, boom, gone. When we try to run this app, you're not going to get your picture shown because you don't have this last line working for you, right? So you try to run it. Let's actually do a little experiment so that we can see how that will work. So you saw what I just did, right? I took out the whole screen one is no longer there. And I'm going to go back and run my code right now. So let's go back to console. Let's stop all the runs. You got to wait if you have a question because I need to do this first and I'll come back to you a question that you have. Okay, so I try to run it. Nothing happens. You see, blank, no picture is showing. And if I go to console, I have this thread exception because what does it say? It says that there's a null pointer exception. Okay, I don't want to go too technical in this, but you notice that it says it cannot invoke this because I don't have it present. Even though I have left it in my code partially, I put it here partially, even without having this. Imagine I didn't even have this at all. I didn't have anything screen-like. And then I just had panel. So picture this in your head again. You have a picture frame, you don't have the frame. Take out the frame. You just have the support and you have the image. Can it stand? Can it be placed on a table? No, because if you run it, it will pretty much not have anything to support it. And it's the same thing that's happening here. So I'm going to run it again. Let's actually stop this. And then I'll go here. By the way, I'll explain to you how this is running if you want to know. And then I come back to my VNC and nothing. So again, stop, workflow, run, and nothing. It doesn't show anything because there's nothing to show. There's no support. So the image doesn't show. So I hope that answers your question to understand the relevance of why we have a J-frame. All right, moving on to the last part I was talking about, which is screen clicks. I think I went a little bit fast on this one, so I'll explain this again. What does a screen clicks mean? Well, the screen clicks is the one that makes the screen clickable, like I said. So it's the one that you add a clicking stuff to the screen to make it clickable so that we can get the X and the Y coordinates. So if you want to add your screen clicks to any screen, you have to add it using this function. Very simple, just that. Any screen you create, at the end, you have to say .add mouse listener because the computer has to hypothetically listen to what's being clicked. And then you have to put the name of your method that you've used to create this mouse adapter. That's all. So now let's test it and see if it works. Now that we've added this clicking thing to our screen, does it mean that our home page, when we click anywhere, we can see our X and Y coordinates? So let's go test it out. Let's zoom out. I always zoom out because the screen is pretty large. So if you have a big monitor, this shouldn't be a problem. Then I'll go to console. And remember, nothing was showing, but now everything is back, right? So go back here, click run. Come back to your VNC, boom, things are showing again. Now click anywhere. I'm moving my cursor and clicking pretty much anywhere. Clicking all the way. So when you go to your console, do you see your X and Y coordinates? That's it. That's the coordinates. So that helps you to understand what range and where you're clicking. So when you go back, you see there's more. So we need this because we want to make the sign up. We're going to start with that. I'm not starting with the about us and the contact us because those are basic. We're going to come to them later on. But about us is just going to be a page about the whole app, what it does. Contact us will just be a form that will send information to a database. And then the one that we need is the sign up and the login. So basically what happens is if they come to try to access anything here, if they're not signed up, they cannot access anything. So we want to have actual users to be able to see how effective this app is and how busy it is in terms of traffic. So what I'll do is I'll go and mark my last coordinate. And I'll come back here and I'll click on the range, okay? So basically I'll click on my top range and my bottom range. You see what I did was I kind of like established a sort of like a rectangle, invisible rectangle around this area. So I'm trying to establish the clicking bounds, right? The range bounds. So I'm saying if they click anywhere around here, right? Just if they click anywhere around here, what I will do is I'll try to get my X and Y coordinates, right? So I click the top and then I click the bottom. If you're going to be confused about, well, which one is the coordinates, just always go for the last four ones, actually, because when I was clicking the top edges and the bottom edges. So I established this boundary. Okay, but if you're confused, stop it again. Just very simple. This is another alternative, which I'll show you. Come back to your console, stop. And if you're wondering where you get the console, just click the plus sign, type in console. So if you're wondering how to run it, and you will open it here. That's what it does. And now you clear your past runs, come to your workflow, run your app. When you do, if you come back, you notice that you're back here again, and you notice that your console has nothing. So in this part, you can avoid confusion and just click your top edges and click your bottom edges. That's it. And then when you do, you get your boundaries. It's an easier way to get your boundaries. Okay, so now that we have the boundaries, oops, I think I just closed my page. Let me go back by accident. Anyways, I'll do it again. So let me go get my console. Something happened, it just closed the whole thing. All right, let's go and take this to the side. We don't need that right now. This is the AI, by the way. We don't need that on the side. This is back to my code as well. And then I'll go back and open my console. And I got to open my VNC again because it closed. VNC is the one that shows you the output. Console is the one that shows you the whole like final thing, coordinates. Okay, so back to my coordinates. Let's look at that. Now, what do we do with these coordinates? Look at the left ones, the left numbers. Let's zoom in a little bit. You're going to take your smallest and largest value because you're doing like a range. If you have a question, I'll come over. Just give me a minute. So you take your smallest and largest value, and according to my X coordinate, my smallest value here is 857. My largest is 1021, and that's for the X values. So what you'll do is go back to your program, come back here, and then put your if statement. This is a conditional statement. So you're basically saying that the computer should take note of whenever somebody clicks within this range, which is this range based on the coordinates, then something is going to happen. And in our case, we want to put a pop-up image that will give an option to either become an employee or become an employer, someone you're actually looking for a job or you're seeking to hire. So 857 and then 1021. So I'm going to start with X is greater than or equals to 857 and X is less than or equal to 1027. I believe that was the maximum one. Let's go back. Yes, 21. 1021. But it's fine. Even if I put that, it will be okay. And then my Y range, the same thing. So it's just like you're doing range in math. Start from smallest to largest. And then my Y coordinate, based on that, I'll go and get it to be all the numbers on the right side. The smallest is 32 and the largest is 82. So going back here, I will say Y greater than or equal to 32. And by the way, if you're looking at this, this is what we call a logical operator, a Boolean operator, sort of logical, not Boolean. Logical meaning that it is and or. And you're saying from this range and between this range. And then you're saying and also consider this range as well. So we have to consider all the range. We're not using or. So the last highest one is 82. So I'm going to go and change that to 82, less than or equal to 82. So Y is less than or equal to 82. That's it. And now open curly brace. And Java is all about curly braces as well. So now you determine what you want to happen. So what we can do is use something called a J option pane. What is this? This is like a pop-up message box, okay? Pop-up box. It's going to show us a message to see if it actually works. But it's not going to say you clicked on the Lagos card because we're not on Lagos. Let's just say you clicked on the sign up /login option. That's it. Okay, and that's how you know if this is working. So this means that if you try to run this program again, then when you click sign up /login, then you're going to see that pop up. And remember, the pop-up is only just like an intermediary screen. if you are a new person, like for example, you're saying, I want to hire, right? You click that, it will take you to the part where you can either sign up or log in. There will be a label where it will say already have an account, just like what you see online. And if you click that, it redirects you back to your login screen so you can log in. But if you want to sign up, then you can sign up at that instance. So let's see if this is working by running this one more time, and I'll come back, and I think I saw someone's hand raise up, right? So I'll answer the question then. Okay, so let's take this back to the side. I'm gonna have to stop this and rerun this again. Clear past runs. Come back here. I don't want to do the major run because that runs everything at once. I'll just run the app as it goes. So here, now let's go to the side, remove this extra stuff. And then we'll click here, and you see this pop-up is popping up, right? It wasn't popping up before, but is popping up now. So I click OK, click it again, pops up. Click OK, click it again, pops up. If I click anywhere else, nothing is happening, right? Nothing is being happened. Rather, what is happening is I'm getting coordinates. So that means that your clicking is working. So what you have to do is you have to make everything here clickable. So all the buttons, the About Us, you have to go get the range, and I'll show you how to do that. The Contact Us, you have to make it clickable. Even if you don't have anything happening right now, you should make these main things clickable. So this About Us, Contact Us, the Sign Up is also clickable. The Lagos should be clickable. Abuja, Port Harcourt, Kano should all be clickable, so that at the end of the day, they can click on these options, and that's really what should be clickable for this interface. And of course, here is where we have the charts. We're going to have that. And at the bottom is where we're going to have the picture cards. So I'll come back to the code. Who was having something or raising hand? You can go ahead.
There is a question in the message box asking if we can separate our UI from like the user profile from other things like using object-oriented approach.
You can do that. Encapsulation, however you want to do it, whether inheritance, you can do that. This is just the basic sort of structure of how to get it to run in a very sort of efficient, faster way. But if you want to do like object-oriented approach, that would be for someone who's more advanced into Java and wants to try those things, like hide things that are not supposed to be visible. Yeah. Is that all? That's the only question?
Yeah,
Okay.
actually, I think it will be valuable to add an analysis section to the app so that we can track the user interaction within the app, right? So that we know after all that which are the features the user engage mostly on the app, right? So I just want to like maybe add that improvement to make sure we track the one that the users interact to the most in our app.
Yeah.
Right?
That's a good one. That's part of data science and analytics. And that's the starting of what we're doing right now, which is why we have a chart here that is doing that in the first level. And then as you go on as a user, when you click somewhere on any part of the screen or any part of the user profile, which will be later, we have to go step by step. The initial part would be the analytics will show here for the city biodiversity, the most talented. We also have, let's zoom out a little bit so I can show you at the bottom before we proceed. So the bottom here will have the, what was I saying? The picture cards that will show like the top 4 trending talents from different cities. And that will be like overall. And that's also going to be data science because that's going to be loading based on stats that we have in our database. So it will look for the profile that's the most interactive, the one that's having the most clicks, which we'll do. So we're building gradually from here to that stage. Obviously, when you get to that stage, when you see the basics of how this is going to be, you can add more of that, like more data science stuff in here, more like user clicks and user interactions and all that stuff. Okay. Yes, go ahead, Kila, before we move on.
Just to add more grease on what you've said, I remember when you started building this app, you said there will be a counter that is going to be tracking the number of clicks that a certain button or a certain module is being clicked. So even using this procedural programming is not going to change the fact. It also makes it easy because you are also working with people who are not good into coding. Now, if you start using object-oriented approach, some of them will feel like it's so difficult, like bringing the classes in and inheriting from every other class. I think that helps too.
Yeah, that's a good clarification. Object-oriented programming is definitely a way for a professional to sort of like professionalize their coding style. You know, what that means is like once you understand the basics, like for example, now you've done this Naija Pro Pulse, you've understood how to be able to use the counter to determine clicks and show with a calculation which state has the most biodiverse talent. You're putting a graph here, you're putting the most trending profiles here. So you have the idea of how basic data science, data analytics works. That's basically how it works. It's analyzing data, understanding user behavior, and then relating that into psychology and having to do that to affect like your overall app. Because you know, okay, the users are more into this type of approach. When I put this, they're more into that. So maybe I should do more of that in my app, because you can see that from the stats. And then later on, as you keep building your app and perfecting it and going deeper into coding, and you want to professionalize your style of coding, because we're starting here from scratch itself, then you can go for all the, you know, in object-oriented programming concepts, more complex boxing and all that stuff of styling, et cetera, et cetera. So it's the beginning to beyond. But that's a good way to clarify it. So thanks for putting that into clarification. Okay, so I think we've understood. Is there anything about not understanding the clicks and how to make the screen clickable? I mean, you know, having this method and getting that to work, is there anything that's not understandable here? No? Okay. Well, I'm just putting this here, by the way. Oops, that's a spelling mistake. I'm putting about us page. This means that we will have it to be, I want to just say, I'm putting this here because you have to put an if condition. Oh, I did say I was going to show you, right? Okay. If you're wondering, how do you make all the other things clickable? Well, it's simple. The same thing again. Let's say for the Lagos one, right? Go back to your console. Pay attention that this was the very last coordinates. Okay. So when we come back here, know that that was the last one that has nothing to do with Lagos. So if I click the top boundaries and click around here, this area, I'm saying once anybody clicks around this area, it's going to instantly open the top 6 trending talents of Lagos. Remember we said that? So the top 6, you can put all of them if you want, but we're going to keep it smart and looking sharp. So top 6, who are they? And then from there, you can go search all the other ones if you want to do a general search. So when I click this area, remember that was the last coordinate. This was the last one. Now, the one before has nothing to do with Lagos. Now I'm focusing on these last ones. These are the last 4 because I just clicked the Lagos area. Now I'm going to take my smallest, and my smallest is 395. My largest is 515. So if you want to add more, more coordinates to make things more clickable, I'll just give like spaces, and I'll put this later on, contact us page. Then we go for the Lagos page. The AI even knows what I'm saying. And then you come here and you put that whole thing, just copy the whole thing, paste it down here, which I'll do easily. And then all you have to do is just change the coordinates, really. Just replace the X coordinates for the range and replace the Y coordinates. And of course, this is only temporary. We're not going to have this right now. We're going to be putting an image pop-up, and that's something we're going to do with Gemini. So going back to the console, looking at all these coordinates, the smallest is 395. The largest is 515, right? So that's what we'll put here, 395 and then 515. And then the same thing goes for the Y coordinates. Oops, let's go back here. Wait, where's the console? There it is. The Y smallest is 473. The largest is 579. Okay, so I'm going to go back and put this here. 473. I looked at all the numbers on the right side, by the way. The ones on the left are the X coordinates. The ones on the right are always the Y coordinates. And then the largest one was 579. So from these numbers. Now just put that here. And so here is where you can say something like, okay, you clicked on the Lagos Launchpad card. Launchpad card. Something like that, really. And then once you put the message, then you can go and test it out, see the difference. You will see that it's going to actually make that also clickable. And that's why I said you just have to do the same thing for all the other ones in the same way. You just have to add more clicks and all that stuff. So you come back here, run it again, come back to your VNC, and then again, the same thing. If you click this, it still pops this up, doesn't disappear. If you click this, it pops this one up. And if you want to move that pop-up down, that's a whole new, again, code that we have to do to bring the box down. Essentially, it will just be, that's how the J option pane goes at the top right corner, top left corner. So basically, you can see this works in terms of your clicks. If you click anywhere else, nothing is popping up because you haven't done anything on these ones. So I think that's all for the clicks. Any questions on the clicks? I think you can now add your remaining clicks in the same way. Just keep adding your if statements for all the other things. And you have Abuja, and then you have Kano. And that's pretty much, I think, the end. Unless you have a home screen where you kind of want to put something at the bottom. I'm not sure where you want to put, like maybe social media links to open on another page. That could be something that you might want to put maybe at the very bottom, like at the footer, right? So that's something else. Okay, so now the next thing is we want to go back to the next part, which is the popping up stuff. The popping up thing that we're going to do is, like I said, once you click here, we want a pop-up message. Now we have to plan this a little bit smarter. The pop-up message will have options for the employer, employee. Employer will be able to hire employees, but they will need to sign up first, right? And when they sign up, the next time they come here, they can sign in. So that could be one way you can have it, intermediate screen. And then for the employee, they would also have to sign up and log in. So let's think about this. So you click on the sign up login, a pop-up message comes up. It asks you, do you want to hire or do you want to look for a job? You click on, I want to look for a job. Let's go with that one first. Then when you click that, it redirects you to the screen where you will sign up or log in as an employee because you're looking for the job. So in that screen, that's where you're going to be smart and put the thing that would load. You could either do it where it will load and it will be a login, and then there would be an option to say create a new account if they're not having credentials to log in. So that's just how you have to build it. Now what I'll do and how you can make this smart is just go to Gemini and you can upload your picture that you currently have. Okay, so you can get some really cool creative ideas. So where's my, let me go find that. Let me look for the Naija Pro Pulse. Give me one more. I might just have to download this again real quick or just drag it and drop it. Give me a minute. Let me drag and drop this picture. So put it over here. This is going to be my download section. Okay, I'm putting it there because it's just easier for me to find it. Now I'll upload my files, go back and I can find it right here. This is the picture we have currently. Now, what I want to do is I want to get some cool ideas, okay? You can obviously design this yourself. If you're a good artist or you use Adobe or whatnot, you can take it to other lengths. I'm saying if you're going basic on this and you want to see like what the AI can do. So what you'll do is like say, okay, based on the picture attached here, include a pop-up window box, right? Window box, yes. A pop-up window box that has two options. Now you can obviously use very nice theme words like a pop-up, include a Nigerian pop-up window box that has two options. You could do that. You could do that as well. So include a Nigerian themed, Nigerian design themed. That's what I wanted to say. Pop-up window box that has two options, which are the first option will be looking for a job. And you can be more specific and say, this one goes on the right, this one goes on the right, on the left, or this one goes up, this one goes bottom, this one goes, you can be more specific on that. So I'm going, the more specific you are with the AI, the better. So it's looking for a job or looking to hire. Right. So it has those two options. And what else do we need? I think that's it. We said include a Nigerian themed design pop-up window box that has two options, which are that has two options. Oh, and also pop-up window box that has two options, like I said, that will be displayed. Let's give it more insight. Will be displayed on the home screen picture attached here when the sign up slash, so that it has more context to what it can show you in terms of that. So when the sign up slash login button on the picture here or in the picture here is clicked. Okay, just that. And you can also be more specific as to specify the resolution size. I'm not going to do that because the size always comes the same. So it's just important to make sure your screens have same size. Now, once you're done, I always say go to flash. I always say you can go extended. I prefer to go extended because it thinks a bit more. But if you want to save time, you can go for thinking level as standard. So once you send this over, just wait for it to give you a version. You can also take this prompt and go to Google Flow. And Google Flow is another version of, and I always say that Gemini, even statistics proves Gemini when it comes to image generation, and yeah, it's the best. And now there's also even something called Omni, which is a feature that Google Flow has. I think I need to zoom out, or what do I need to do here? I need to zoom out, I think. Let me see. Because there is a feature where I can put my prompt in. Oh, okay, the prompt has shifted. So they've shifted the way things look like now. Okay, so paste it over here. It shifted here, guys. The prompt is now on the side. Used to be here at the bottom, but I think they changed it today. So you can just paste your prompt.
Yes,
We're going to go
yes,
back.
ma'am.
They did, right? Okay, Comfort says that.
They've changed it already.
Okay.
It is the agent.
Thank you for telling me that. I didn't know that. They were working on something today. Anyway, this is one version I have, right? I can use this version, and I will show you how I'm going to use this version. This is how it looks like. Looking for a job, search and apply for professional opportunities in Nigeria. Okay, looking to hire, find and connect with top professional talents in Nigeria. So, if you like that design, you can go with it. I'm actually just going to show 2 designs. And let me see. So we have to put the setting as 16:9. When you come to Google Flow, just to make it simple, you will paste your prompt in here, right? Normally, there used to be an option where you can switch between agent and manual. So it seems like now there's no that option. So that means you have your options here. Now, your options for image generation is here. By default, it's set on specific things. You can also use Omni Flash, but I think that's more for video. So for image, you just have to put the type of style size. We're going to 16:9. We're going to go two variations, and I'm going to switch back to Pro. Once you've done that, just click Save. And once you've clicked Save, just make sure your prompt is very clear to what you want, and just click Send. So what it will do is the agent will think about what you've said. We'll give you a suggestion of what you can design. And if you're happy with the suggestion, you can say proceed or agree, and then it will start generating for you the image right here. So that's really what happens. Oh, and I forgot one thing. I forgot to upload the picture. Yeah, unfortunately, I forgot. But let's still see what happened. It says, well, sometimes it has this issue. You got to just reprompt it again. Let's see what happens. Send it one more time. Or maybe, I think I know why I didn't prompt. Oh, I see I need to upload maybe. I think it missed a picture. Let's upload the picture and let's see. Sometimes Google Flow has issues because it's not the only, you're not the only one using it. So like now, for example, this is the picture I'm uploading. This is not the generation one. I'm uploading a photo right now. And once I upload this photo, this is it right here. I'm going to add it to the prompt. And then I have to paste my prompt again one more time. That's my prompt, and then I have to send it. So let's see if it's able to capture that. So anyways, you can get the versions this way and choose whatever photo you want. I'm not going to spend too much time on this. You can explore Google Flow on your own, but it gives you more variation to what kind of images it can generate. And if you want to trash this out, trash them out if they said failed to connect, and see if it works again. In the meantime, I'll go back here and come back and check what it's doing, still working. Here, I will pick this one just for now. What I'll do is I'll screenshot this to make it easier. I want to use this pop-up message box, right? So I screenshotted it. I'll use this. What I'll do is also go back to this website, remove BG. You can use any website. I want to take out the background so it's a clean shot. So I'll upload the picture that I just took a screenshot. Take a screenshot on your computer. It's easier that way because you can reduce the size that way. And also because sometimes you get the size perfect. Go to pictures, go to my screenshots, and select my picture per se. So this is the picture that I took a screenshot about. You see it? It's going to take out that background for me. Okay, one sad thing is that which I can fix really easy. I can take out this sections right here. Okay, that's easy for me. I'll download what I have, and I don't like, it could be a design. I mean, it's fine. It could be a nice design, but I don't want that to happen. So this is just more editing photos, which you can do later on. So I'll just do this real quick. Take this out, put it over here. Take this one out, put it over here. I just want the pop-up, this one right here, and then over here. That's it. Save my image, and I've saved it. This is how it looks like. Okay, good. By the way, I didn't check what prompt is. Yeah, this is what it gave me, guys. By the way, oops, it even logged me out. So it gave me that. I'm going to log back in so you can see what it gave me. It generated this for me. This is what it looks like. I definitely would not go for this option per se for me particularly. So what you will do is just keep regenerating. It does have really good image generation, but I wouldn't go for this one. So I already have the picture I want. Now come back to my code right here. And what I want to do is I want to come back and I want to drag and drop the pop-up. So I'll just rename this. You can do this in your Replit or you can do it here. Actually, let me show you how to rename it. Just drag your picture, drop it in here, or you can upload your picture as a folder. So that means you have to create a folder and on your computer and put your picture in there and then just upload the folder. And it will still upload the picture, but I prefer to just drag and drop in here. Okay, so I dragged and dropped my photo. What was it called? Let me go find it. It was called screenshot something something. So it's at the bottom. There it is. This is my picture right now. I will just call it pop-up 1. Okay, and .png is fine. Java doesn't really care the extension of the image as long as it's PNG, anything, GIF, all that works. So if I click it up, it shows me this right here. So what you'll do just before we wrap up the lesson, let's do this part. How do we show that picture? Okay, so we want, when they click sign up, we want this picture, pop-up 1, to show instead. So what we'll do is come back to the code and in here, right after this part, inside of your if statement, you're going to create a code of image icon. You're going to create an object of your image icon class. Call it whatever you want to call it. Remember how I told you create class objects? You just put the name of the class and put the name of your object. So picture 1 equals to new image icon. And then put your pop-up stuff that you want to show. So in this case, I want to show popup1.png, right? That picture. And I'll put a colon, semicolon. What else do I need to do? Well, to show the pop-up, even though I create an object of the image icon class, I need to create an object of the JLabel class. So JLabel is label, just like you know, that puts text. But we can also use it in terms of having it like what we said before, like a support where the picture is going to go on. So I already have one label object called label1. Do you remember when we put it on last class and when I showed you initially? I had something called label1.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
ma'am.
Okay, so I'm now creating label 2, okay, real quick. And then I'm just gonna go create the object. You see what I did? I created an object of JLabel. Let me zoom it in. But you notice that I actually set my object, my JLabel object, to show the picture 1, which is the name of the object of this image icon class that will contain the picture that I want to show. So this picture. And then finally, very simply, what I'll do is I'll set the bounds of my label. So set bounds means where do I want to position this pop-up thing to show on my screen? I'll go, again, you have to think, okay? So in the beginning, you can estimate. If you go 0, 0, point of origin, somewhere in the center, might not exactly look in the center because of the resolution. I'll go where X is 550. I'm being very precise because I know kind of where that area. So where X is 550, X coordinate, Y is 200. Y, and then I'll go width and height. So this is my X and my Y coordinates. Where do I want to place it? Now I need to specify how big is it going to be. So how do I know? Go back to your code, go back to your computer, take your cursor over your image and you'll have dimension, the size. So the dimension is 586 by 312. That means is what you're going to put here if you want to show it completely. If you put anything less or more, it's either going to look squishy and cut out, or it's going to look extended and not complete. So that's it. And then the last thing I'll do is I'll add this to my screen, or you can add it to your panel. If you add it to panel, remember what panel was, by the way? Panel was, actually, I think this is our adapter screen. You can add it to your panel, or you can add it to your screen. I guess we can do one thing I just remembered that we need to do. Let's do it on the screen, but I actually think we need to make a slight change. So what I'll do is, let's go back to this part. if I add it to my screen, which was screen 1, by the way, we made it static, right? Do you remember? Screen 1 was the one here. We can add it to static and put it like this. So this way we can make it to show on the screen. So another way, which we'll do if this doesn't show, which is why I said if this doesn't show, is because we have to make the computer also aware of what screen we're on. So right now, this is only an if statement, and I'll just run this for you to see because of the class time. And then if this doesn't show, and the alternative way is that we'll create something called like a state, so that the computer knows that they're on the state to want to sign up or to log in. And then we'll say if they're on that state, then we'll basically just make this pop up. So that's one way, but let's run it and see real quick because of time, and then I'll come back, and I think if you have any questions, we can answer them, and then we'll wrap up. But next class, that's what we're going to work on, and then also work on the database. So when I click on this, and you see it didn't show. So that's because, like I said, we have to have a state. This doesn't recognize where we're getting the screen 1 from, even though it is static, which means static is here. It means we can access it. We still need to be able to make it into a state so that it knows that we've clicked on something, and then it knows that it has to pop up. So it actually has to come in here in this method, and that's what we'll do next class. We'll say if sign up clicked, then pop up this image, and that's the only change. But the codes are still going to be the same. We just have to copy and cut it out of here and put it in the other junction. So for now, I'm going to leave it here and come back for any questions. So remember that today you just have to make all your options clickable and keep them as pop-up messages for now. Get your pop-up window showing from Gemini or Google Flow. And then, of course, get ready to make it pop up. And then from there, we go into the sign up. And then we go into setting up the database because that will be connected to the backend. Okay, so I'll come back to the classroom. Right. Okay. Any questions so far? I think there was a question or something on the chat, but I wanted to wait until the end. So I'm kind of loading back to Keela. Okay, Keela says, it just listens to any click you do since we're tracking the coordinates. Yes, Keela just re-emphasized what the clicking does, or the event, mouse event does, which is good. Thank you for sending that, Keela. And Esther was about to say that because obviously Esther is a computer science student. Yeah, and Keela obviously studied that. Everybody, I think, here has knowledge of computer science and programming. So is there any other things that you want to ask? Mary smiling. Mary is a STEM teacher. She's in chemistry, biology, but Mary is gonna have something from there. It is. It's coming up. And I think it wouldn't be, giving your intellect level, how high it is, I think it wouldn't be a problem for you to, I think anybody can learn how to code. Is there anything else? Anybody? Fatulo, I think I saw a message. It got deleted or something. It was in the chat, wasn't it? No? Okay. Well, I think we're going to wrap up here. Yes, go ahead, Fatulo. I'm listening. Yes.
To actually send the message, I think I've gotten a response, yes, already in the chat box. But I want to suggest, like, maybe we should create a local NACI tech community, like in the different countries that we have. So, and I will be a representative that can organize like a monthly virtual meeting up with the students to connect with them like a project, or like learning about like available courses that we have in the school, so that they will be able to know exactly what the NACI tech school is all about. So before they can enroll. So I just suggest like creating a local NACI tech community, right? So
yeah, that's a good administrative. Yeah, that's a good administrative suggestion. Send us the email, Fatolo, and I have to pass it down to the leadership team to review that and see how that's going to work. But I think that's a good thing to get people aware of what exactly the courses are so they understand better. Yeah, that's a good suggestion. Thank you. Any other things? No? Samuel, Kumo, go ahead. Kumo's raising. Go ahead, Kumo.
Good evening, everyone. In relation to the class, the recordings, how we get that? Since some of us, we are not in the Google Classroom for Naija, please.
That's a very good question. So I will be adding you guys, everyone will have access, will be added to the classroom. Usually the recording will come like 2 days or after when the media team goes over, like, you know, cutting, editing, whatnot. I don't think we need any much editing here, but it will come up after 2 days and then everyone will be added to the Google Classroom. That's a good question
Okay,
too.
thank you very much.
You're welcome. Any other ones? Esther is here. I think everyone's here. Samuel is here, but where's the other Samuel? Is in here? Mary, go ahead. You have a question, and then we'll wrap up because I don't want to keep anyone here.
Okay.
Go
My
ahead, Mary.
internet was fluctuating at the beginning, so I didn't really get the first 10 minutes. Are we going to have access to it after this?
Yeah, in the class recording after 2 days from now or so. 2 days from now. Usually it's maximum 2 days from when the class is held. So we're on
Okay.
Friday, so I think Monday because it will go on the weekends, right? So Monday.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.